Hello, welcome to the KFVS12 studios. I'm Diane Becker. 25 newscasts originate from here every week. That's nearly 15 hours of information and many more hours of hard work. Some of you may have seen our newscasts. Now we'll show you behind the scenes. In the news department, the questions of where and what are considered every morning by the assignment editor. It's his job to find out where the news is, get a reporter there, and get the story back. America's heartland is one big area, not just a big city. What we have to do is figure out which stories we'll cover each day, which have priority, where we should assign crews, and what should get on the air. The assignment editor and news director also make decisions who will do the story and how much time should be devoted to it. Contact is also made with crews in our Southern Illinois Bureau in Carbondale and our bureau in Poplar Bluff. The news day is underway. A big reason why so many of our news stories are coming into your home live, as it happens, is because of microwave transmissions. KFVS uses a specially equipped van and truck, as well as the bureaus in Carbondale and Poplar Bluff, for live broadcasts. This enables us to show you the news as it happens. Meanwhile, the work continues in the newsroom. The newscast begins to take shape. Time has been allotted for weather, sports, and commercials. 12 to 14 minutes are left for news. It's finally time to go on the air, time to present the work that went on early that morning.
Roll an intro.
The news is underway and everything seems to be going well when there's a late-breaking development. Some quick discussion between anchor, director, and the electronic news coordinator, and the decision is made to save some time and insert the story.
Want to pull out in the second break, pull out the edge of town. We're going to cut it.
Somehow everything works out just right. The newscast is a success, but the job is only beginning. There is always work to be done for the next newscast. We'd like to focus in on some of the unsung heroes here at the television station, the news photographers. They are the eyes and ears of everything that goes on here, and as you are about to see, they earn their pay. Here's Dave Crevazier to tell you more.
It's exciting, you know, every day there's something new. Any news that's breaking in the area, we're on top of it, and it's exciting. I look forward to coming to work every day.
No position is too difficult. No story is too insignificant. No interview is too mundane for a photographer. Their daily challenge is to continually find new and creative ways to represent the story they're assigned to at the time.
A photographer seems to have a trained eye and knows how to look for that aspect on the rectangular screen that a reporter really isn't trained to do and can't do.
Let's just take a look at a typical morning for Chief Photographer Ron Wilson. His assignment for this day is to accompany reporter Nick Miller along to Cairo and cover the teachers' strike there recently. If possible, they're to prepare for a live broadcast on the subject for the noon report. Ron begins by loading his equipment in the truck. Aside from the camera and the videotape deck, together worth over $50,000, there's an endless array of wires, the microphones, extra videotapes, extra lights, and then it's time to hit the road. And it's always a race against time. In this case, there was considerable trouble getting the live shot to go out of Cairo, Illinois. After moving the live unit 2 or 3 times and moving Nick's live report down in the newscast, it was to be the first item, they finally get the live report on the air.
That the last best offer is on the table now, so that the next step is up to the teachers. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Nick. Nick Miller reporting live from Cairo this afternoon.
Okay, how about, why don't you start out?
Later that same day, photographer Cecil Corbett, covering a story on wood-burning stoves, exhibits the kind of creative spirit that goes beyond the standard fare in hopes of capturing the kind of picture that catches the eye.
Being the highly visual medium that it is, the TV reporter is fairly helpless without a photographer. For instance, this very report you're viewing now would be impossible without the help of yet another KFVS photographer, Harold Bollinger. KFVS's newest and only female photographer from Poplar Bluff, Kelly Charlton, apparently unaffected by the 60-plus pounds worth of equipment she carries here, finishes out her day with a shot of some Wednesday's children. Obviously, the photographer's job goes far beyond just taking pictures. At the site, the photog takes the responsibility of preparing the scene, stringing all the cables, or generally what is known as setting up the shot. And things just don't always work out. For instance, let's go back to the beginning of that live shot in Cairo with Nick Miller.
Cairo teachers are not in the classroom today. They're on the picket line. Nick Miller is standing by live to tell us what's going on. Nick?
Where did Nick go? Well, these pictures taken at the scene tell the story. Both he and photographer Ron Wilson were on the ground, trying to hook up a fresh battery to the TV set so Nick could hear his cue from Jim Burns. The other battery gave out just before they went on.
Jim, we are in Cairo, Illinois right now.
Okay, Ron, we get a chance to put you on the other side of the camera this time. Had kind of a frustrating job here this morning, working, trying to get the Cairo live shot out. Do you ever get totally frustrated with your job?
When it's all over, you can take a break and get frustrated, but when you're working to get it done, you don't have time. You've got to keep moving. You've got to find a way to get the job done.
The news day typically will include anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 or more stories, and any breaking developments that occur in the off hours. The photographer is nearly always on the move.
The American public has become accustomed to polished and flashy sports programs by the big three networks, CBS, NBC, and ABC, each with million-dollar budgets and state-of-the-art technology. But on the local level, more and more affiliate stations are starting to broadcast sports for their audiences. These past 2 years, KFVS has broadcast several basketball games, and each one gets a little better. Now here's Mark Johnson to tell you what it takes to get the game on the air.
You know, a lot goes into the actual broadcast of a basketball game on television. The announcers you see are really a very small part of that telecast. It takes camera and audio men. It takes floor and stage managers. It takes videotape and character generator operators. It takes engineers, and probably most important of all, an experienced director to tie the whole thing together. Now, John Lohmeyer has that job, and just as he was on that very first live telecast we did earlier this season, he always seems ready to put on a good show.
I'm just kind of happy this is our first live broadcast, and we're all been looking very much forward to it, and we just hope everything goes right. Back at halftime on your interviews now. I don't know what you guys have discussed on that. Okay, we'll come back after that spot, give you guys 3 minutes, and you'll know that we're ready and you might and second, so we won't hurry in there. Okay, now I need all the brown.
After nearly an entire day of stringing cables, carrying equipment, and testing the signal, the evening's telecast is now moments away.
Stand by the cue announcers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cue announcers.
Live from Carbon
Avondale, Illinois, KFVS-TV presents NCAA basketball. Tonight, the Salukis of Southern Illinois University play host to the Southeast Missouri State Indians of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Hi, everyone. I'm Randy Ray. Mark Johnson is alongside. Mark, it's always great when two locals...
As luck would have it on this particular night, the game went right down to the wire, increasing the excitement of the telecast. And afterwards, all involved didn't really complain about the amount of work during the day. We were all too busy and too excited talking of when our next basketball telecast would be.
Another live presentation we know as the Telethon. The Muscular Dystrophy Media Extravaganza is produced with the intent of raising millions of dollars for people with MD. Over 200 stations participate in the Telethon. Not only is it a technological feat to televise on a national level, but each member station becomes involved in a tremendous volunteer effort, a non-stop 22-hour undertaking. Here again is Dave Cavazier to explain.
Planning for the next telethon begins the day after this one is over. The telethon is not the only way the Muscular Dystrophy Association has to raise money, but it is by far one of the most successful of the charity funding drives in America, partly because it's almost an American tradition now after 18 years. But mostly it's a success because so many dedicated people work so hard to make it the huge showcase for talent and appeal that it is. First, there's the Hollywood celebrities and entertainers who put on a never-ending program of sights and sounds from Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas.
We know is that what...
And of course, there's Jerry himself, the mastermind of it all, the single most important driving force behind the entire production.
62.
But closer to home, for KFVS12 and all the other member stations in the Love Network, it's the local talent and the resident producers and directors, the technical talent that makes the telethon the success that it is. Mark Steinoff is the producer.
There's a lot of problems with engineering. Had to work out, could we go live from two places in one town? Could we use wireless mics in different places of the building? Do we have enough equipment? Do we have enough people? What about backups? You know, just goes on and on and on and on.
The telethon begins on a Sunday night at 8 p.m. and runs 22 hours through Labor Day evening at 6 p.m. Of each total hour, the organization in Las Vegas is responsible for 45 minutes of programming and entertainment. The other 15 minutes, commonly called the cutaway or the cut-in, originates at the KFVS studios. Each cut-in is carried out according to a rough outline of events. But as director Mick Vandiver would tell you, it's far from being cut and dried.
Too, you know, other people say, I've got this shot, looks good, we'll take it. It would just, you know, no ground rules, just fly by what looks good, take it, and spur the moment.
Essentially, the 15-minute cutaway could be likened to one half of a newscast, something it would take a news staff most of one day to produce. But with the whole station participating, there was no problem filling that 15-minute segment.
It goes real fast. You would think 15 minutes would last a long time, but it seemed about like 5. It's simply because you're anticipating everything ahead of time and you knew what was supposed to happen, whether it did or not.
After the cutaway, it's conference time.
As soon as we come off the air, we go right into conference with the producer, the director, and the crew about what we're going to do on the next 15-minute cut-in, 45 minutes from now.
And have you ever wondered how or where Don finds that energy to keep going through the whole thing and still end up with a smile as big as when he started?
Only 15 minutes out of every hour being local, that does give us a chance to recharge our batteries and rest a little bit. I bring a foam mattress and lay it on the floor of the weather station here, and when I have a chance, I come in here and just sack out for a few minutes.
This is the 3rd year that KFVS has done the Muscular Dystrophy Telethon, and each one seems to get better. But certainly, when it's all over, there's almost a sense of loss along with the exhaustion.
I really enjoyed it. It's amazing how that Sunday, Monday, that 22 hours seems just like one day.
I was disappointed that it ended, though. I wanted to go on for a couple more hours. You know, it was a lot of fun, and people were caught up into it.
had a chance to see the news staff and the technical people, but there's another group of hard workers equally responsible for getting your favorite show on the air. This group is made up of sales personnel, traffic and program coordinators, research and business people, and our creative services department. Before anything goes on the air, commercial time has to be sold. First, account executives work with clients to develop an advertising strategy that will help them reach their target market. To do this, the salesperson consults the research director to find the right time for a certain client to advertise. The next step is getting the commercial produced. This takes very talented and creative people, artists, video producers, copywriters, directors, camera and audio operators. This work is done with the most up-to-date equipment. The commercial must then be scheduled. This is done by traffic and program directors. They determine what time slot is available, either in network programs such as Dallas or local news and entertainment programs. The schedule is placed into a computer and printed onto what is known as the program log. The program log lists every program and every commercial that goes across the airwaves. More than 80 people are involved in sending our KFVS12 product into your home. We're glad you watch.